What's going on, YouTube? Oh man, my sinuses are going nuts for some reason. But I'm gonna do a video real quick, and then in this video I'm gonna show you my perspective, what I see out here on the road. I'm in my truck, in the driver's seat, and just so the viewers out there who don't drive a truck can kind of get an idea of what I have to look at all day long, what I have to deal with all day long. I'm going to show you something here. Okay. Alright. Let me show you this here. One, I got that tall mirror I gotta look at. I got the what they call the fisheye mirror at the bottom that I gotta look at. I got the same thing on the other side, the tall mirror, or what they call the West Coast mirror, the fisheye mirror that I gotta look at. And then, sorry, I've got my RPM gauge that I drive at 10 speed, my water temperature gauge. You got a fuel gauge. You got a DEF gauge. DEF is diesel exhaust fluid, in case you're wondering, and it helps clean out your exhaust from the soot. My speedometer, my oil pressure, and then, if I can get it, I got my primary and secondary air tanks. You know, you got your trailer parking brake, your truck parking brake, and then my gear shift. Sorry about the trash, I'm cleaning as I'm going, but okay, now my gear shift is a 10 speed, so I literally, not counting reverse, have 10 gears to go through. 1 through 5 is what they call low range, and I got a button on my shifter that I pull up, and I go 6 through 10, which is my high range. Now I have a clutch. I don't utilize it other than starting and stopping. They teach you in school to use the clutch. You have to take your state test using the clutch for every gear, but once you get out in the real world, you don't use a clutch. Most drivers, when you say clutch, they ask you what a clutch is. They do what they call floating gears. So I literally, as I'm driving, I'm letting off the throttle and giving it throttle, or feathering the throttle, to go from one gear to the next without using my clutch, and to be seamless. Now my air tanks that I was showing you, I got a primary and secondary. My air tanks, my brakes, all my brakes, truck and trailer, are controlled by air. Like cars are controlled by hydraulic fluid or brake fluid. Commercial vehicles as big as mine are controlled by air. So I gotta constantly watch my RPMs, make sure I'm not over revving it. My temperature gauge, make sure my truck's not overheating, especially when I'm going through the mountains. My fuel and my DEF, I gotta keep an eye on periodically so I know when to stop to get fuel. But my truck burns through roughly 6.5 gallons per mile. Where most cars get 30 miles per gallon, my truck gets 6.5 miles per gallon. Granted, I got bigger tanks. Each one of my tanks, I think, holds 120 or 125 gallons of fuel, and I fill them up on a daily basis. But I'm also burning through 6.5, sometimes 7 gallons per mile. Speed, obviously, watch your speed. Oil, I gotta keep track of that just to make sure. It is a diesel engine. Diesel engines are different. And then my air tanks, I gotta keep an eye on my air gauge just to make sure I don't have an air leak. If for some reason I get an air leak on my truck or my trailer, and that air pressure goes down, it will immediately lock tires up. So that's something you don't want. My mirrors, you gotta keep watching your mirrors constantly. Like about every 12 to 15 seconds, you're supposed to be looking at both mirrors to make sure what's behind you, what's beside you, whatever. So, and the only difference between my truck and an automatic is an automatic would have a shifter right next to the steering wheel where you either flip a button up for forward or flip it back for reverse, and it literally shifts itself. You don't, like when you park your truck, you put it in neutral. Doesn't matter if you're in an automatic or if you're in a stick shift, you put it in neutral, you pull your parking brake. That's how you park your vehicle. The only difference is with an automatic is the computer tells the truck when to shift. The computer shifts your truck. Where with mine, I shift my truck. I put it in what gear I want it in. There's pros and cons to it. With a 10-speed going through the mountains, 10-speeders are the best. When you're in backed up traffic or coming out of New York and it's stop and go traffic, automatics are nice because you don't have two pedals to hit. Like I got a clutch and a brake that I gotta hit every time I'm in traffic, and that clutch pedal is not, the easiest thing to push down. It's got some tension there, so you're constantly doing this with your clutch pedal, and then you get your brake pedal. So 10 speeds, I prefer 10 speeds. Other drivers, prefer different things. There's drivers that prefer automatics. It just depends on what kind of freight you're hauling and where you're hauling it to. Now me, I prefer 10 speed because I do long haul. I go over the mountains a lot. So for me, for me personally, it's better to have a 10 speed because you can, without using your brake, you can actually control the speed of your truck and trailer due to what gear you have. And then I got what they call an engine brake. Some of you might have gone into a town and it says no Jake brake sign or no engine brake sign as you're coming into town. That's for truck drivers who have them. And I know probably some of you have heard it where it's like rumbles and growls and whatnot. That's an engine brake. It literally is, all it literally is releasing the compression out of the piston chamber from a diesel engine and shoving it through the exhaust. So instead of having normal compression and motors running right, it literally takes away the compression. So it basically is slowing the engine down and slowing you down. So there is a lot of pros and cons to both automatic and manual. It's a driver's perspective. I started my career out in an automatic for several years. Got with a company that all they had is 10 speeds. Got really good with 10 speed. Now that's the only kind of truck I will drive is a 10 speed or a 13 speed or an 18 speed. That they do have different gears. Like some of the older trucks were 13 gears, literally 13 gears. Some of them were 18 gears, and I think it even went up from there. Every truck I've driven one 13 speed in my career. Not much different than driving a 10 speed. You just got 3 extra gears, no big deal. But for me personally, 10 speed all the way. Automatic, if I have to drive it, I will, but don't really want to. But so yeah, that's kind of what I deal with all day. Watching my mirrors, watching my gauges, watching what's up in front of me, making sure I don't have any idiots that are coming around and cutting me off, watching what gear I'm in, compared to the situation I'm in, if I'm going through town or in traffic, stuck up in traffic. Man, my sinuses are going nuts. But so there's a lot to deal with as a driver, because not only do you got to see a half mile ahead of you or further ahead of you to see what you might be coming into, but then you got to keep an eye on your mirrors. You got to keep an eye on what we call four-wheelers. Four-wheelers is anything that's not a commercial vehicle. Your cars, your SUVs, your pickup trucks, anything that anybody would drive that's not a big truck is considered a four-wheeler. So we got to watch our four-wheelers out here, because some people just don't have the some people just don't know how to drive around big trucks. They don't know how to respond to big trucks. They don't know the common courtesies behind it. They've never really been taught, and it sucks. And we might make another video. I might make another video talking about, just the common courtesy of what you guys can do driving four-wheelers to kind of help us drivers out. Because I tell you what, you drivers that get respect from four-wheelers will give respect to four-wheelers. Other than that, we hate four-wheelers, and you're not going to get no respect from us. You're just not. If we're coming into a traffic jam and say it's 2 lanes and they merging it to 1 lane, if you give us respect, we'll give you respect and let you in. Otherwise, you ain't getting in. Like, we're bigger than you, you're not getting in. So it just comes down to, we have a job to do. Most of you guys, like anybody in a four-wheeler that's out on the interstate or whatever, you guys are just coming and going from stores or friends or family's house, where when our trucks are moving, that's our job. We get paid to be on the road. I don't get paid I don't get paid hourly. I get paid by mile. So if my wheels ain't spinning, I ain't getting paid. And a lot of people are like, they don't think about that and are disrespectful to that. Like, okay, instead of letting me go first in certain circumstances, oh, it's a big truck, he's gonna take a long time to get up to speed and blah 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 and this, that, and the third. But if you really think about it, if it wasn't for us, nobody would have anything. Everything you have in your house, including the material that made your house, is transported by us. If every truck driver just decided not to run, we just said screw it and shut down for a couple days, this whole country would shut down. Literally. Like, there could be a factory that'll shut down for a few hours or whatever, but they have competing factories that compete against them. So they're still making the same material as this one. Where truck drivers, we're the only ones that transport freight across this country. If it wasn't for us, nobody would have anything. Because it wouldn't get from whoever produced it to the warehouses or whatnot to get distributed to the stores. I used to do Dollar General accounts, so I used to go from the warehouse to each Dollar General store and actually deliver most of their freight. Most of the stuff that you go, most of the stuff that you go into Dollar General to buy, I delivered. So keep that in mind when you are around a truck driver. Keep that in mind that we're doing a job. Our job is the road. We are way big, so we have to take turns really wide. There's certain, there's certain ways, certain things that we have to do that you guys have to just be respectful and give us space to do that. Because at the end of the day, we're way bigger. We take up way more room to do any maneuver. And if we don't get to that store to deliver said product that's in our trailer, you can't get said product. You can't go into the store and buy said product because it won't be there. So just remember that. But I'm going to conclude this video. I just wanted to kind of give you guys a little perspective of what I deal with on a daily basis, what I have to look at on my dash and my mirrors, and kind of go over, what us real drivers have to deal with, and how you guys as four-wheelers could, make our jobs a little better, which in would make us more respectful to you guys. Because right now, Most truck drivers don't respect four-wheelers. You hate them. I hate four-wheelers. I hate regular drivers. Hate them. So keep that in mind next time you get around a truck. Be respectful and give them their room. Give them their space. Let them do their job. Because if we don't come to your job and hackle you and hassle you and make it hard for you to do your job, don't make it hard for us to do ours. Please. So thank you. Love you. And we'll catch you on the next one. Bye, riders.